is Arianna. I am creator and editor-chief of Brown Orchid Magazine Media, and I have a very special guest with me today. I have Miss Savannah, also known as Savvy. She is an alternative and soul artist, so please welcome her to the garden.
Thank
Hi,
you. Thank you
Savannah.
so
Hi,
much.
Savvy.
Hey, how's everything?
Pretty good, pretty good. So please tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you grew up, how did you get into music?
So I grew up in New York City my whole entire life, born and raised in Queens. Specifically Far Rockaway. If y'all know, y'all know.
All right.
Don't judge me because I know y'all like to say Far Rockaway is the Bronx of Queens. Not too much. Okay, we got the beach. We're good over
Yes.
here. But yeah, that's where I grew up, and I've been here my whole entire life. As far as music goes, I really started in church because I grew up like very
Oh,
religious. And my parents were really like dedicated Christians and like go to church like every single Sunday type thing.
devout.
Yeah, so I started with church, like the kids' choir and things like that. And by doing that, like when I would sing, people would hear me, like my talent,
Mm.
like they would hear me like harmonizing and like doing all this kind of stuff that no one really taught me. And they're like, girl, like, where you learn to do that? And I was like, I don't know,
Oh,
I'm just doing it. Like I don't really know. And then it kind of just
naturally, yeah.
took off from there, really. Yeah.
That's how every great artist starts. It starts in the choir, and
hmm
then it goes on from there.
hmm
And I love it. That's literally how all the greats start. They start in church, and that's amazing.
hmm
So, and then what made you have the aha moment like, I am going to pursue music?
Hmm. The aha moment? Whoa. I feel like I've had a couple of those, but I think the first time is when my grandfather, rest in peace, he like gave us this really old grand piano. Like I'm sure if
Oh,
I were
wow.
to try to buy that right now, it would be crazy expensive. Like I don't even know
No,
how
they
much it
are,
costs.
they're huge and just, they're beautiful to look at. Oh my goodness.
Mm, crazy. And like even when he gave it to me, it wasn't like it was a little ran down, you know what I mean? Like a couple keys didn't work, but like I was like 4 years old, 5 years old, like bored and like just wanted to play it. So
Yeah.
I would just play it and I kind of like self-taught myself piano. I don't say I play piano because I don't really know. But everyone be saying I could play, so like whatever.
Hey, one of these days, you're going to learn.
For sure, by ear, you know. But I used to like play downstairs, like in the living room, and just like make up songs. And like the way that I would just feel like when I'm with that piano, like it just felt like I was the only one in the room. And I would go for hours, hours and
Wow.
hours. And I just knew like that's what I wanted to do. And especially when I started like watching media and like watching like TV shows and like seeing like other celebrities like do their thing, like it was just more like a confirmation, like that's gonna be
This is
you.
what you
You know what
need
I
to be
mean?
doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. And I think, especially, being the church choir and then your grandfather's grand piano, like everything was meant to be, everything aligned. And that
Mm-hmm.
is amazing that, like, that was the moment and
Mm-hmm.
to develop your talents even more. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, back to your childhood, what was like your idol or like your like fantasy? Like I think growing up, like we have the alias of like Hannah Montana and like having your own like
Mm-hmm.
stardom moment, but like what was your kind of like okay, like your dream, you know?
Mm-hmm. For me, as far as like a celebrity goes, like vocally, I think the first one was Adele. Adele was the first one because
Ooh,
I remember
yeah.
hearing, I still remember hearing like rumors the very first time. Like, I think I was at like Kohl's with my family as a kid
The
one time. I don't know if y'all
department
remember.
stores, yeah.
Yeah, because they used to play the music videos on the TV and stuff by the
Mm,
fitting room.
yes.
Yeah. And then I remember seeing that and I was like, whoa. And then like I remember just looking her up and I would like find all her songs and like watch her music videos. She was a big one. Bruno Mars was another one too.
Mm.
Like I used to be heavy on those two and I used to sing their songs all the time on karaoke on YouTube and like
Yes.
go crazy. And I would say Beyonce too. Maybe when I got a little bit older, but especially because I love her work ethic and that really resonated with me too. Like how hard she works and how she's so like specific and like intentional with every single thing, and how she does her very best to make sure like that really, like her vision really comes through, you
Yes.
know?
And before audience, we were talking about we're both 25. We're both,
Mm-hmm.
very older Gen Z, and our teen years were doing the 2010s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can have a whole case study about this, but and maybe it's just the older, age, like, oh my goodness, like music these days,
Mm-hmm.
but pop stars back then, they had to do work,
What? They
work.
was working. Like, hello? Oh my gosh.
And, artistry is not just, I mean, there is a factory, right? I mean, how artists push out people, you know, it's very, I guess an industry plant, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
an artist knows, and I'm talking about Beyonce, someone who you could tell this is their passion and everything they do is calculated. They want their fans
Mm-hmm.
to know that, hey, this is my vision and I want you to see my vision.
Mm-hmm.
Down to the notes, down to how they present their album. So, what are some things that especially you as an artist, that you want your fans to know? What is something about Savvy that, that's completely you?
Completely me. That's a really good question.
Or
Like as far as like me as a person, or like just music, like with music in general.
musically inclined. Like,
Mm,
musically, like, what is something that, like, I can have a whole maybe music catalog of artists, and what is something that's from different from other artists that only you have?
mm. I would say I would say it's my sound for sure, because I then that's also why I consider myself an alternative soul artist, because I feel like when we think of just like R&B or just soul, there's a very specific picture, which I love
Yes.
too, you know? But I just feel like the more and more I keep making music and keep making new songs, the more I'm getting closer to my sound, which I also feel like would just be a continuous evolution. And like
Yes.
when you hear the songs too, it's like you'll be like, oh yeah, like that's an R&B song, or that, that's a pop song, but there's also something else, and that something
Right.
else is me. You know what I mean? And I just feel like that's pretty much was different from me and like other artists. It's like no matter how hard you try, like it's gonna be whatever it is, but it's definitely gonna be me, you know?
Right. There's like a certain like je ne sais quoi,
Yeah.
And but I you brought up a good point that, like, there is, especially in the alternative scene, I think a lot of, I mean, the genre like R&B, you think of just black artists. And we're so much more than just R&B. Like, we are
Mm-hmm.
so dimensional, right?
Yes.
And but I know that with, the alt scene, rock, and even I will say country too,
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, all these genres really started with us. Um,
Exactly.
they re
Exactly.
you know,
Elvis Presley, I'm coming for you. Like,
yes,
hello.
Little Richard, like, there's so many, like,
Ugh.
amazing artists, but that's gate kept seemingly by majority white
Mm-hmm.
audiences. But my question is to you, especially being or navigating the alt scene as a black woman, how's that feel and how's that look like?
Mm. Oh, how does it feel? It kind of feels, honestly, it just kind of feels like home, because even before I understood what alternative was and the alt scene was, I've always been that. Because even when I think about like when I was 14 and I first got my first like Kindle tablet, because I didn't
Yeah.
have a phone yet, the parents wasn't doing that.
Yes.
That's when I really first started like diving into music and like finding the song, like the artists and people that I genuinely like. Um, and I really gravitated towards a lot of more alternative, music, or even when I even look at fashion or like other
Hmm.
media, like I was always gravitated towards that, but I didn't really have a name for it. I didn't really understand what I was like
Trying to
attracted
do. Mhm.
to. Yeah. And for me it just feels like home. It feels like something that I've always been. And especially recently too, learning again that we were the ones who started that scene and that was
Hmm.
ours to begin with.
Exactly.
Oh, that was so crazy to me because even when I was younger, looking at different alternative media and music, it was always whitewashed. You know what I mean? It
Hmm.
was just always white faces. And it's just so good to hear like again that we were the originators of that. And even when I
Yes.
think of being black as a whole, that whole experience was considered alternative at a point because people didn't they didn't even know like we would even get to a point where we can make art or be in the spotlight or even be able to be in
Hmm.
the same restaurant as them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, it feels very homey for me.
Yes, I'm glad you said that. It's not like I had to pave something new. Like, this is me. Like, this is my space too. I
Mm-hmm.
love that. And especially, I'm not trying to get too political, but
Mm-hmm.
especially, we are United States based, and everything that's going on in this country
Mm-hmm.
is abysmal. And I think more now than ever, as, Black people, as African Americans, we really have to not just only embrace ourselves, but we have to make it known that this is us and we are here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, down to your music and artistry, I think a lot of Black artists, more than ever, we're stepping out of the box. We're reclaiming what is ours. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So my question is, let's talk about your music now.
Mm-hmm.
How did you write solo? I love the
Ooh.
beats. What's the inspiration between for solo?
Oh, solo, I love telling that story too. I actually wrote solo when I was 17. So
Okay,
it's to me, it's a very old song. But for everybody else,
it's
it's
new.
something new. And I wrote it when I was going through a really big friendship breakup. I
Mm,
had like a group of childhood friends that I was very, very close to. And there's a lot of stuff that was going on that I did not understand. And I just didn't really know why things were going the way they were going. And I unfortunately had to make a decision to just choose myself and walk away.
yes, peace.
And yeah, and that was very hard because like I'm the kind of person that really loves people. I love my friends. I love the people that I'm in connection with. And when I really like you, I want to be with you all the
Look,
time.
I'm a
I'll
Cancer, so like
ooh,
I'm July
girl.
1st,
Mm-hmm. Oh, on
and
the way. Soon, soon.
mhm. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad that you, because not a lot of people talk about friendship breakups. To me,
Mm-hmm.
I have always have like I any relationship I have, like I cherish that, you know?
Yes.
But like
Yes.
friendship breakups, a lot of people don't talk about it. Those hurt more than actual relationships.
No, seriously, literally. And like, especially when it's like somebody who's known you for like most of your life.
Hmm.
And that was kind of the hard part too, because it felt really scary, like letting go of so many people that really knew parts of you that new people will never be able to see, like knew you when you were a child or
Yes.
knew like your core. So to have to walk away from that was like really hard. And that's pretty much what the song is about. And I wrote it when I was still in like that angry phase where
Yeah.
I was like upset that everything was
Teenage.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why the message is mainly like, even though I'm hurt and I'm upset, I'm still gonna do what I need to do for myself. And if I just gotta do that alone, then I'm just gonna do it alone. And that's it.
Hey, and that's the message that we all need to, sometimes we have to accept.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, hey, seasons change and people change. And,
Mm-hmm.
I that's one, theory and fact that everyone has to accept, unfortunately, that, you can't change people.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't change people. If people are stuck in their ways, they're going to be stuck. But I love the message of Solo, and
Mm-hmm.
other people, your fans love it too.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite song to perform?
Favorite song to perform? It's so hard to say that because I have. more music in the vault that is still not even out yet. And I've only have like two songs out right now. But out of the two, I will say Talk to Me for sure, because it's
Yes.
dancey, it's fun. I love the drums like in that
Hmm.
song too, especially. But I know that's definitely gonna probably change like when more music comes out
Yes.
and more is in store.
Develop.
But I would definitely say Talk to Me for sure.
And we didn't mention this, but what does a typical day look for you? Like if you're performing that night, like what type of events do you perform at?
Mm-hmm. On a typical day, usually I would do like open mics. Like I know there's a studio called Pirate in Brooklyn. Shout out to
Okay.
them.
All right.
I don't know if they're still doing it, but last year they were doing a whole bunch of open mics and I would always go. But a typical day would probably be me like going to work, doing my
Yeah.
9 to 5, clocking
I'm with
out,
you.
brushing home, showering, getting dressed,
Hmm.
prepping everything to just go right back on the train to go to Bushwick and meet up with my peeps at Pirate and just connect, share my music, and then at the end mingle with other artists, connect with other creators too. And I don't really do as much prep probably as I should for performing.
No
To
judgment.
be real, yeah, I think just because I get in my head really easy, so I don't want to get too
Right, right,
thinking
right.
too much about it. Like just go, just do it, And yeah, that would pretty much be a typical day right now if I was performing.
So we cherish Black womanhood at Brown Orchid.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to uplift Black women and just have an overall community of us.
Yes.
So, what does representation mean for you?
For me, it's extremely important, especially even working at a school right now and seeing the effects of that
Yes.
like in real time. Um, because for me, when I was growing up, my parents made sure to put me on to all the Black artists, the
Hmm.
Black TV shows, sitcoms. They
Amen.
made sure I saw it for sure and knew my history and all of that. And I've seen like what can happen when a child doesn't get that exposure or doesn't have that
Mhm.
opportunity to see like the full capacity of who they can be. Not even meaning like they have to be like somebody else, but just seeing somebody do something big that looks like them is so important, which is why I'm really big on that with even my own music. And that's kind of what I did for Talk to Me, the music video. I was very intentional about a lot of different things. I was intentional about the cast and I was intentional about the story. Because Talk to Me is a love song. It's a flirty, like, oh, I just met
Yes.
somebody and I want to know like who you are and like see where this goes. And I even thought to myself, I'm like, I feel like every time I see like those type of music videos, is always like a straight couple, a straight cis couple.
Yes.
That's cool. But in my opinion, I wanted to do like a gay male couple. I feel like we don't see that
Hmm.
a lot. And I know we're talking about womanhood in this particular case, but that's also why I wanted the dancers to be women. Because I'm like, if the men are going to
Representation.
be the focus, yes, for the love story, I definitely want women to be the focus for the performance and for everything else. And I was very intentional about not just making sure women were in my vision, but Black women specifically, Afro Latina women specifically, because I know we're the ones that don't really get the opportunities that I feel like we should. And I just felt like we should platform that.
Yes. And representation isn't just, again, like, um, just one way. It's about, everyone. And especially
Mm-hmm.
for, queer representation, they don't, especially for Black women or Black gay men, it's
Mm-hmm.
so much spread across that.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have a question about Talk to Me, your other single.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I will just pivot right into that question. What was the inspiration, or kind of already said that, but how did this Talk to Me become? And a little
Mm-hmm.
bit about that music video as well.
So that Talk to Me was really a flow state process like the whole way through because I remember a former producer I was working with, he sent me the beat and the beat was called Talk to Me. So usually if I don't have a particular vision in mind that I'm trying to execute
Hmm.
when I'm writing a song, I don't mind going off like maybe the title of the beat, or something that maybe the producer is telling me like he got from the beat. And I literally remember I don't know if you know what summer youth is, but summer youth is like a employment program for teens in New York City.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
basically they help, yeah, they basically help teens in like the inner city like get jobs so they can build their resume and stuff. So
That's
I was
good.
sitting, yeah, it is. It's really cool. I did it like my whole entire adolescence. And I was
Oh,
at the summer youth like where they do like the papers and make sure you have everything. I was in line sitting down, and that's literally where I wrote the whole entire song while I was in there.
that's that's
Yeah,
dope.
literally. And it just kind of just came out like at least the lyrics and the songs and like everything worked. And then I remember recording it, and he was like, yo, like this is like so good, like. And I was 16 when I wrote that, so I was even younger, and he was very surprised. My producer, he was like, what you talking about all this, talk about all that at 16. But I'm like, hey, like this is what came to me.
Right.
And we had a different vision, not for the music video. Well, I had the same vision for the music video, but when I was making like the cover art, like if you see the cover art, it gives more like jungle and like that kind of vibe. Because at
Yes.
that point we didn't do the music video yet, and I was just kind of going off the vibes I was getting from the song, and especially the drums and that type of aspect. But when I started thinking about what I wanted the music video to be, that's when Talk to Me evolved even more. And
Right.
that's where I got the love story idea from. And I really wanted the red to be an emphasis. And I was even thinking about, I
Colors,
think it's
yes.
Studio 54, like back in the day, like that used to be like the
Yeah,
popping
I
cup.
am obsessed with Studio 54. I just
Mm-hmm.
those vibes, like just the carefreeness
Yes.
and
And
everything. No, I totally I saw it, you know?
and that was a big inspo for like Talk to Me as well, as far as like the outfits and like the vibe and the energy we wanted everybody to bring. And yeah, and like again, like that was a flow state too. I was figuring everything out as I went, and I was freaking out the whole time, but
Hey,
we
but
did
you know
it.
what? But that's part of the creative process. Like even
Mm-hmm.
how you were writing the song as you were doing as you were at somewhere else that was completely irrelevant to the song.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how it goes. It just naturally flows.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And that's just divine timing and just how it's supposed to be. And
Divine timing. I love that.
yeah.
All right, to round our interview, my one last question is, what is the best advice that you've ever received?
Mm. The best advice I've ever received. Wow, let me think on that for 1 second.
Okay. I
It's
know,
like,
it's a loaded question.
it is. You know what? I think it was, honestly, I think it was like, never dim your light. I feel like I got a lot of that advice when I was really young. And at the time, I didn't really understand why they were telling me that, because they would tell me that in moments where maybe I just did a performance like at church, or like maybe I got an award at school or something.
Hmm.
And or I could just be at the grocery store, and like I remember like even strangers like saying that, you know what I mean? I'm like, whoa, like, am I doing something wrong? Am I hiding? Like, what's going on? You know
No,
what I mean?
but it's the thing that especially as, like souls like us, a lot of people want to tear you down. Like I've realized that one of my models is people are miserable and people also want you to be miserable.
Yes, yes,
And
girl.
I
Mhm.
say that every time I get like a hate comment to me or like on social media or whatever, but you cannot let people dim your light.
Mm-hmm.
And I've remembered that growing up too. So especially for us creators, you cannot let other people affect your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the time when I was younger, I didn't really have that problem. I think just because I was a little naive and I just wasn't aware of how like big I can be, and I just was me. But over time, I did dim my light lots of times, especially when you hit that adolescence
Hmm.
stage. And even when I went to college, I was very like to myself, and like I'll pop out when I wanted to, but I was really like in hermit mode for a lot of parts of my life too, especially when certain things were going on in my life that was challenging. But I think that is definitely the best advice, because if I had dimmed it, then no one would see me. And then no one would know the talents I have, the music that I want to share. And I think sometimes we dim our light too because we assume that people are going to judge us or that they're going to
Mhm.
not like what we have to offer. And then you'll be so surprised that when you actually share that, come to find out people love you. People want more. People are
Yes.
willing to help you, like with nothing in return. And you're blocking your own blessings just by assuming that that's not a possibility for you when it can be, you know?
Amen. All right. So this wraps up our interview. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for speaking with me,
Yes. Thank you for
Savannah.
having me.
All right. And everyone, I have all the links listed below. So please support Savvy and please stay tuned for more. All right.
For
Bye,
sure.
everyone.